Now, with the ongoing debate on the management of the public wage bill, it has now left the government exposed on its priorities. With Kenyans already bearing a heavy tax burden, analysts say it is unacceptable that 53% of taxes by Kenyans is used to pay salaries. KTN's Katusia puts these matters into perspective.
Raising revenue through taxation to fund government budget is totally acceptable, but taxpayers will, on the other hand, be waiting for efficient utilization of their money. Kenya's public sector wage bill has almost doubled in 4 years, and tax contributions from Kenyans have been reallocated to take care of the wage bill at the expense of service delivery to Kenyans. With the eroded value of the shilling coupled with the persisting high levels of inflation, lives of many Kenyans are becoming a nightmare. What they can't escape, though, is tax. A visit to the supermarket demonstrated how Kenyans are finding it hard to make ends meet. With 1,000 shillings, I could only afford 2 packets of maize flour, a packet of milk, bread, 1 kilogram of sugar, cooking oil, tea leaves, tissue paper, a bar soap, and paraffin. For the purchase, a 16% value-added tax was charged, in this case 160 shillings. This purchase will barely last 2 days in a medium-sized family. The fact that the 1,000 shilling was part of salary, it means I had already been charged income tax. But after such taxation, Kenyans are struggling with bad roads and poor transport system that cost them more money every day. Poor health services, especially at the public health facilities. Majority of public hospitals lack basic facilities to offer efficient services.
At the moment, I think we need faster growth. People need to feel that they're not being taxed till the pips are squeaking, and feel that the government is delivering. And that is, you can do a lot of things, but if people don't feel you're delivering, that's a political issue.
Of the 1.3 trillion shillings budgeted for the financial year 2013-2014, over 50% of the money is to cater for wages of public servants. Some 330 billion shillings have also been unaccounted for. Katusia, KTN.
Now, we know how high our wage bill is, but do we know who is eating the biggest piece of the pie? Tonight, Asha Mulu analyzes the government's options at taming the wage bill and which department should be facing the axe.
If you had 100 shillings, would you use 53 shillings, more than half, to pay someone else? That's exactly what Kenya is doing, using 53% of her revenue on paying salaries. And that's why there's a red flag on the ballooning wage bill. While some economists think there's no cause for alarm,
wage pressure don't happen overnight. So we can't just wake up one day and say, oh, we hadn't realized that our wage policy, our public wage bill is growing very unsustainably.
Some say if not tamed, it could drive us into bankruptcy.
Many countries that have had wages grow much faster than revenues, and then over time you are in a crunch. So you have to borrow, and then after some time you've borrowed too much, you now can't pay, and then government just, you face a financial crisis.
But whom exactly are we paying 538 billion shillings? Some have argued that Parliament is bloated and that MPs' wages are pumping up the wage bill. But economist Kwame Owino finds fault in that argument. The Parliamentary Commission's recurrent budget is 19 billion shillings, meaning MPs account for just 3% of our wage bill. The 300,000 teachers in our public schools account for 143 billion shillings out of the 538 billion shilling wage bill. That's at least 30% of the entire wage bill.
What value do we extract from the teachers that we have? A new model of rewarding teachers is required. Teachers who actually show how they execute their functions. Do they really attend work? Some way of measuring how teachers actually provide value, so that not all teachers are rewarded just because their union can negotiate.
Hata sosio nimekuona. Very good. Hata wewe usinipige sana, tufanye kazi pamoja. na sina shaka tutafaulu.
But that's not the reason President Uhuru Kenyatta is in the spotlight. The Ministry of Interior Coordination alone takes up at least 13% of our wage bill. Apart from the poorly paid police officers, those wages are also paid to provincial administrators, officers who ought to have been phased out in the devolved system of government. This is what's concerning most stakeholders. Under the provincial administration sits the county commissioner, the deputy commissioner, the assistant county commissioner, the chief, and the assistant chief. The county government has its own version. There is the governor, the deputy governor, the sub-county administrator, the ward administrator, and the village administrator. All these officers are paid through your taxes.
All these people are still within the public sector, earning wages, when the work that they have within the constitution and new framework of government actually does not exist. So that is the problem. So unless we make those adjustments, there are also other areas. Unless we make those adjustments, we will continue to suffer with a wage bill that continues to spiral.
People have not seen those controls working. So people have tended to take advantage of them. Or people have deliberately made sure chaos existed such that controls become irrelevant.
Although it's a financial monster President Uhuru Kenyatta inherited from President Kibaki's regime, it's his monster to clear up, and experts warn that if he throws the ball in his successor's court, then it will be a monster that may swallow up the country's economy. Asha Mwilu, KTN, Nairobi.